Mind Gap Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome to Mind Gap Podcast. I'm Doug.
I'm Justin. And Doug, what celebrities would you want to play your parents in a biopic about your life?
Okay, that's a great question.
Or a biopic.
Ooh. Oh, I have so many jokes.
I was gonna say, like, when I landed on this question, I'm like, well, this is gonna go one of many ways.
Fuck, what's his name?
A dirty diaper inside of an old jewel bag.
There we go.
Starring a dirty diaper inside of an old jewel bag is Chris
who played
Cochran.
Roseanne's husband in the show Roseanne?
Oh, Tom Arnold.
Is it Tom Arnold?
Sorry. No, John Goodman.
See, I thought Tom Arnold. I'm like, that's not John.
Tom Arnold was her actual husband.
John Goodman could be my mom, and no, John Goodman's too good. He's too good.
I thought you were gonna do Roseanne Barr as your mom.
No, Fran Drescher is my mom.
Okay. Well,
Or-
yeah.
Have you seen Donnie Darko?
It's been a while.
Have you seen Speed?
Yeah.
There's a lady on the bus in Speed that like dresses like she's a 1950s preacher, and she's like one of the first passengers to die on the bus because they're getting like the bus driver off who's been shot, and they're like, "Come on, lady, get off the bus," and she looks at Sandra Bullock and goes, "Annie, I have to," and she's like, "No, don't," and she tries to reach out, and then Dennis Hopper blows it, and she falls beneath the bus and gets run over. That lady could play my mom.
Is it only because of what happens to her?
No, she honestly, she does such a good job in Donnie Darko of being like an annoying like person.
She's in Donnie Darko as well.
Yes, her role in Donnie Darko should be perfect. Or
I'm just trying to cross reference both of these and see if I can pinpoint who it is here.
yeah, I want to get the actor's name. I hate doing this where I'm just describing it. If people know what I'm talking about, like if you've seen
I know.
that lady is like so easy to hate in that movie.
Suzanne, she's female exec. Suzanne Barnes was not in both, I don't think.
Beth Grant is her name.
All right, Beth Grant. There we go.
Yes.
Played Helen, and she played Kitty Farmer on Donnie Darko.
She is super, just like, she's so easy to hate in Donnie Darko. Also, let's see here. In Midnight Mass, there is a exceptionally pretentious, judgmental cunt of a character who I think could kill it as my mom. Her name is Samantha Sloyan, and boy, does she make it easy. You just love to hate her in that movie.
Okay.
She's one of those people where I'm like, she may have the kid who played what's his name? The Lannister kid in Game of Thrones.
Okay.
Joffrey. Like, they saw that kid in real life and everyone hated him because of his character was so obnoxious. I have a feeling this woman would be the same way. You see her, if you see Midnight Mass, you're like, oh, I'm gonna drown you in the toilet, because you are so awful.
So what about your dad then?
I mean, I don't know, who's a big old pussy. Maybe. Speaking of what's his name? Another character actor. Here we go.
That one guy.
Hold on. I'm gonna get it. Where are you? Oh, David Paymer.
David Paymer.
If you've seen, when you see him, you know him. Like,
yes, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
He was in Ocean's 13. He's the guy that basically got set up to basically get screwed over the whole film. He's in the movie Payback. He's in a bunch of stuff.
Oh, he's in the movie Mighty Joe Young. He's
in
He's
Get
one
Shorty.
of those guys, I guarantee if I click on this, it's going to be in the hundreds. Hold on. known for credits as an actor, 178 things. So
Right.
he's one of those character actors that has successfully had a career as a character actor and has for the past, let's see, when did he start here? For the past, let me go back to the beginning. Wow, since 78, he's been in 178.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just
Things,
going through
yeah.
this shit. I'm like, dear God.
I know him best from Get Shorty, I think.
Get Shorty.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's been in just a lot.
Oh, he was in Marvelous Mrs. Maisel most recently. Okay, and The Morning Show. Oh, yeah. Now I'm remembering all these things I've seen him in recently. Yeah, absolutely.
He's been in a lot of stuff. So
if he's also one of those guys that if you name something, odds are he's had a part in it somewhere.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So David Paymer for my dad.
Okay.
And
I like
either Samantha Sloyan or the first lady that I said for my. They would be
Beth Grant.
Beth Grant probably just age wise. Samantha Sloyan's probably
Beth Grant
too young,
is 70. Samantha's 44. Beth Grant's 74.
Yeah, Beth Grant would probably be age wise would be the right person to do it. So I think they'd be knocking it out of the park. So
what a pairing! What a
pairing!
Who would play your brother?
Oh, The Rock.
Nice, good answer.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson.
Good answer. He's I feel like he's been jonesing to do an indie film recently. Mm-hmm. I think it's about time. He's had his run of box office hits. Mm-hmm. You know, it's time for him to really sink his teeth into an indie film.
Yeah, let's get into it. You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, be great. Watching him be an assistant principal in rural Missouri would be awesome.
What talk about a fish out of water.
Right? Yeah.
Just this giant dude in the middle of rural Missouri Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Who most of rural Missouri probably would not take kindly to.
They would probably at least be afraid of him based on his size, you know?
100%.
They'd probably be like, God, don't fuck with that guy. But they would say a lot of awful things, like from a distance.
But then, but here's the thing. This is where The Rock then gets to play the character that transforms the entire state of Missouri into being compassionate, caring people.
Yeah,
and that's a movie I would go see.
By challenging them to a cage match.
Exactly, yes. And then murdering all of Missouri.
One by one, he's like, step into the ring. And he just fights his detractors one at a time, like a bad action movie.
He fights the tractors because, as we all know, the tractors are the real problem in Missouri politics.
I said detractors, but I like yours better. Tractors. He's fighting people, bad guys on tractors as they slowly roll in. He's like,
nothing falls like a deer.
Bam. I've been hunting deer my whole life. Cracks his knuckles.
Right. Thank God I brought my deer hunting guns. Cocoon, cocoon.
Turns into like that bonus level from Street Fighter 2 where he's just smashing shit.
I would, without a doubt, see that movie. I would be first in line to the box office to see that.
You're like, man, I'm like, this is my story, you know? You're like, I don't see the connection. I'm like, trust me, it's in there. It's metaphorical. How about you? Who would play your parents?
I would. So I was trying to figure out age wise and kind of just like general personality.
I know who'd play your dad. I forget his name.
Well, I was thinking Kurt Russell for my dad.
Definitely.
I think Kurt Russell, similar head of hair if my dad grows his out a little bit. And I feel like sensibility wise. Who did you have for my dad?
I don't remember his name. He was a character actor.
Okay.
And I don't remember what fucking... Oh, I nailed it! He was also in Get Shorty. Dennis Farina.
Oh my God. No, I take it back. Absolutely Dennis 100%. Farina.
100%.
Why did I not think of Dennis Farina? Yes, absolutely.
Or Sam Elliott.
I could see Dennis Farina definitely though.
I'm leaning more towards Dennis Farina, but
absolutely. That's a great For my stepdad, I would say I'm going with Ed Harris.
Okay.
And then for my mom, Diane Keaton, stepmom Sally Field.
Wow, you got this, man. Bam, 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 bam. This guy's
bam, 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 bam.
I love it.
Yeah,
I love it.
Goddamn Dennis Farina. That's a great call. I don't even know why. Yeah, because my dad rocks the mustache better than anyone that I've ever seen rock a mustache.
The first thing I thought of when your dad, I was like, who's a cool guy with a mustache? I was like, Dennis Farina or Sam Elliott. Either way, it'd be really cool. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. For sure. That's so awesome. That's so much fun. Speaking of so much fun, gang, I've been streaming Lethal Company on our video game nights, and for the last 2 weeks, holy shit.
I'm gonna tell you what.
I've
been jelly that I have not been able to join these.
I've got a bunch more clips coming. So from last Friday's stream, and holy shit, have these been fun to just dig out and parse out. If you're not familiar with the game, first of all, it's $10 on Steam. So do yourself a favor, spend $10 and get it. It's like sci-fi horror kind of, in that you are working for this company as salvagers, and you go to these abandoned moons and these abandoned facilities, and you just try to find scrap. You find all sorts of stuff, but there's also horrifying monsters that are existing on these moons, and you're trying to survive through all of it. And what I love most about the game is when you're playing with other people, there's proximity chat, meaning that you can only talk to people and hear them from a certain distance. And the audio engineering in the game is fantastic, because if someone goes into another room, it's muffled, and you can buy like walkie-talkies and talk to each other on like the walkie-talkie and everything like that. It is an absolute blast. It's full of shenanigans. You get scared, you die, and it's very fun. So I've had so much fun playing it. Last week was just an absolute shit show. Natalie watched it 3 times, the stream.
The whole thing?
Yeah, she loved it.
Jesus, dude.
She was like going back, and I was like, just so you know, there's a lot of bad language. She doesn't care. She loves it. And it's total fun. So go check out our VODs from the last couple live streams. Check those out. They're there. Also, there's some shorts. I already have a couple released. There's more coming. Maybe by the time this comes out, several more would have come out. So check out our shorts playlist, youtube.com/mindgappodcast for all that good stuff. And if you like what you see there, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We'd appreciate the love there for all that sort of stuff. So,
did you say lay the like button?
Lay the like bucket. Lay the like bucket.
Lay the like bucket.
Lay down in the like bucket. Take a moment, bathe yourself, and leave the bathwater behind. Don't ask questions. But the contract is whatever you leave behind, we get to keep. So
that's true.
There you go.
That goes right into our Patreon account.
Right into our Patreon account for resale. You know.
Yep.
Or wholesale, depending on what kind of deal you want to do. We can work it out. We're flexible. You know.
If you're leaving holes behind, then we're gonna have a wholesale.
And we're gonna fill them. You know.
That's it.
And that's
how we make our money, folks.
That's all I have to say about that, you know?
Oh my God, I'm going to buff.
That's a true Missouri business model right there.
Woo! We're going to fill them holes.
Filling holes and making doughs.
So I have a fun story to tell you.
Okay.
There's now, after this thing that's happened, there's 2 defining moments in Jill and I's relationship that have happened. That I think after this thing, like, we remember. I'll tell you. I'm actually going to tell you 2 stories. So to just show you how these memories that stuck with us in our relationship for well over a decade now.
I'm settling in. Let's do this.
So the first one was years ago, many years ago. We were living in Chicago and everything like that, and Jill was on the phone with my mom, and I was trying to make her laugh while she was talking to my mom. So I was like dancing, like really aggressive in front of her and stuff like that. And she was sitting on the couch. And at one point I got up onto the couch and I started like, just like, you know, Chippendales, like in her face. I was just going right back and forth, and I was really getting into it. And then a bit of spit fell out of my mouth and into her mouth while she was talking on the phone. And she was trying not to acknowledge what was happening while she was talking to my mom. And then she was like disgusted, and also like, it was so hysterically like off-putting and funny that both of us broke down laughing, and she basically had to like tell my mom she was going to call her back, because she was like, what the fuck did you just do? You basically spit in my mouth. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do that. I was just trying to be silly, and I took it too far. What a surprise. That's my MO.
Sure.
And so we still reference that to this day of like, hey, remember that time you spit in my mouth unintentionally?
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh yeah. So last week, Jill was gonna go get her hair like cut and everything like that, and I was like, when is that happening? Is it happening this week? Is it happening next week? She's like, you know, I don't know. I'm gonna have to give him a call in a few minutes. I was like, that's cool. So I leave, I go in the kitchen, and I have these moments, Justin, where I literally go into Dougland. I don't know if I've described what it means when I go to Dougland, but I
have an idea, having known you for a long time, but why don't you tell us real quick, what is for those uninitiated listeners, what is Dougland?
I basically I hop on an express train out of reality and go to this wonderful place called Dougland, where I'm off somewhere mentally, somewhere else, and the Holy Spirit's taking over my body and doing whatever, and I don't even realize
full autopilot.
I have no idea what the fuck's going on most of the time. I'm just off imagination land, whatever. It's gone. One of these times, I was at my computer and I was just like talking to my cat, Taco. I was like, Taco, Taco, kitty, kitty, Taco, Taco, kitty, 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 Taco, Taco. And I was doing something on the computer.
I remember this, yeah.
And I was doing this for like a minute straight, and Jill goes, Doug! And I'm like, what? She goes, what are you doing? And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, you're just repeating Taco, Taco, kitty, kitty over and over. What are you doing? And I'm like, I didn't realize I was doing that. I was just like, I had stepped out and I just like left whatever I was doing on repeat. And it was just going and going and going. And so
the record in your mind was skipping.
I was like, I set up the code where I was like, loop. And it was just like going. I was like, well, I was off doing other things. So I was in the kitchen and I was like warming up some food, and my knees had popped, and I started like I was like, ooh yeah, and I started dancing. I started feeling like, pop that knee, pop it good, and I came around the corner and I go, pop that knee just like you should, like really aggressive. And in that moment, Jill had just connected with the hair place. I literally heard the hello, thanks for calling, and she was like so baffled at what I had done, and she saw the look in my eye of like, oh fuck, I forgot. A, I didn't realize what I was doing, and B, totally forgot you said you were gonna call. And she literally had to hang up the phone. She's like, I can't even try. And we laughed for about 2 minutes straight. I fell onto the couch. Like, we were both like crying, laughing, because I'm like, God. I'm sorry, I did it again. Like, I was like, I'm going to step out for a little bit, gang. I'll see you later. I'm going to get some milk, and I just like took off, and why I felt the need to sing and dance and speak that aggressively, I'll never know. And also just busting into where Jill's room is like, yeah! It's just like, I'm on the fucking phone. I'm like, oh fuck, I forgot. And she's like, this is just like you spitting in my mouth all over again. I'm like, yeah, it's in the same vein, that's for sure.
I love when you have those moments where you just it's so unexpected and you just can't breathe. You're laughing so those are the true little fucking nuggets of joy in life.
Jill hits like this threshold of like hysterical laughter that just sends me like it is a drug that I will never get tired of. Like it is Beth's got a cry laugh that she hates. She's like, it's such an ugly laugh, and I'm like, no. That is a wonderful, because it is pure unadulterated laughter. It is not there. You again, you've lost control over your body. You're laughing that hard. It's marvelous. Yeah. Yeah. Jill hits a fevered pitch, and it's the best thing in the world when we're there, because even if something if I obviously got her there, it's like, whew. Man, I'm the fucking best. Even if I didn't, I start laughing because I'm just enjoying her hitting that level. Like it's fantastic. It's the absolute best. So
Milos used to have that when we lived together. Bob and I would just relish in the times when something we'd be on a bit, something would happen, and you would see Milos, his arms would cross and he would kind of retract into himself and he would try to stifle it. And he would get that and you would just see him start to bounce, and then the eyes would squint, and then he did this like you said, like a frequency. It was if you know Milos, he's kind of he's a dude's dude. He likes sports and he likes whiskey and he's this and this, but he had this super high pitched weird giggle, and it was one of those things where the minute if we could get him to that point, all of us were done. Yeah. We were all just toasted. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
It's like another thing to laugh is just someone else laughing. You're just like, yes, we're there.
When it's that pure, like that they've lost control laughter, there is something so infectious about that.
And when it's in a place where you're not supposed to laugh, or a moment you're not supposed to laugh, I mean, is there anything both equally awesome and terrible at the same time?
Bob and I had that at work. We were in was it Bob and I? I can't remember. I think it was someone at work, and we were we were in a meeting where we were all on camera, but this person and I were chatting on the side, typing to each other about something that was happening in the meeting. Something someone was doing that was very stupid, and we kept every time they would do it, we would comment on it, and we got ourselves to the point where we were just. I mean, I had to. I think I turned my camera off, or I pretended to drive. It was so blatant that both of us were just not paying attention to what was happening.
Yeah.
And then, of course, you're trying to stifle it, and it just gets worse and worse and worse. So, yeah.
I love that more than anything in Zoom meetings nowadays.
Oh,
doing that private chat with somebody and then watching their reaction, because you send it and you're like, and you look at them and then they're like,
you're
whoa.
watching, yeah.
And you're like, I got him.
I got him.
Got him. Bam. Yeah, that's the fucking best. I love that. I saw a video of this man and this woman were in church, and they had microphones, and obviously they were singing, and like the camera's just on them, and it says like, try not to laugh when the pastor falls. And like apparently they fall, and they both just immediately like turned, and they were facing the wall. They put their microphones away from them. They were like pulling out their phones, and they're just like kind of shooting eyes at each other. They're like, we can't look at each other right now, because if we do, we're gonna laugh. To see those two people sitting there trying not to laugh in that situation, I started laughing on their behalf, because that's the best.
Have you seen the supercut of the inappropriate times to laugh videos?
I don't know if I have.
Oh, I've got to send. There's one. I think it's a talk show, and I want to say it's a French talk show, or maybe I can't remember what country it was from. But there's I think the thing was people who are afflicted with like things that make life more difficult. And there's one guy when he talks, he sounds like he's talking with helium all the time. And the host just caught the bug. And again, like you could see the host kept saying, "I'm so sorry. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry," but was just in tears, laughing hysterically. And he goes, "I'm sorry. Okay. I'm so sorry. Please continue." And the guy started, and then the host just went, just fucking lost it. And the audience, it would cut to the audience. The audience was going, disapproving head shakes to the host. Laugh? Like, how could you make fun of him? And he's like, I promise I'm not making fun of you. But every time this guy started speaking, the host would just lose his shit.
I love those.
And the guy was like, I can't. It's very rude that you're laughing at me.
It's very rude that you're laughing at me. And you're like, stop! Shut the fuck up, man. This is never gonna stop.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I can't help it. This sucks.
Yeah.
I saw another one. It was like a UK like game show. It was something like Who Wants to Be a Millionaire sort of situation. Yeah. And they said something about the word fanny, which in the UK means vagina. Uh-huh. And so like they said that, and the host he held on as long as he could, and then he just like it hits him, and he can't keep talking, he can't keep like asking the question, and then he basically gets rocked for 2 minutes as he's trying to keep going, but he can't. Like that, I love that shit so much to know. And just it's like watching SNL when the people at cast are breaking
when they break, like
those are so much fun. Like, oh, I love it because they're not supposed to, but they can't help it. I'm like, that's just that to me is like, I know on SNL that's considered a big no-no, but for me, I'm like, it's the fucking best, man, because these are professionals, and it's what's happening is so outrageous. They can't keep it together, It's
exactly, yeah. And it used to be a little bit more not accepted, but I think over the like Lorne Michaels used to get really pissed off about that. But over the course of the 49 years it's been on the air, I think people have said like you still don't want to do it, but it's become much more. It's okay, You
don't want to do it because you don't want it to take up more time than it needs to. This is
exactly
it's a timely run ship and stuff like that. But I mean, I saw that when I was like at Second City. And doing that stuff, it was very much like, this is what you do. And then I went to I.O., man, I'm like, fuck, people are on stage having a blast, like just enjoying themselves, not taking themselves too seriously. And I'm like, oh, I'm really vibing with this, like just going all out and just.
That's really cool. I like
having fun and taking those moments to just. It's from like one of the sketch I'm thinking of is when Will Ferrell plays like the prospector in the military.
Oh, yes.
He's like. It's what an absurd concept, and Will Ferrell, of course, plays it perfectly. And everyone in that fucking scene is trying not to laugh because he's just
Absolutely.
this like military, like modern military, and he stands up and he's like, "Oh, it's me, Willie the Prospector. What I say we gotta do is get on over there and make sure we get our gold." And everyone's like trying so hard. He's like, "We're gonna get in their stealth." It's like, "What are we doing with the Prospector?" He's clanking. He's like, "Oh, fiddlesticks," whatever he says, and just just nails it. And I'm like, "Oh my god, it's the fucking best." I love watching those compilations of those moments where people break. It's the fucking best.
And there's a few people who definitely wore the crown, if you will. Will Ferrell was one of them. Kate McKinnon was another one, and I've seen Will Forte. I think it's the people who commit. The harder the person commits to this, the more they play the silly serious, and the bigger they play it, and the bigger it comes, the more serious they become about it.
Yeah.
That's usually when they get the other people to just they're done. They're toast.
Yeah.
They're absolute toast.
Kate McKinnon is just like
when she's the best one is obviously when she, Cecily Strong, and Ryan Gosling are playing the three who have been abducted, and they did that a ton of times, but the first one is still just there's nothing like that one, and Gosling just cannot. Well, even it was A.D. Bryant and Bobby Moynihan were the interviewers, and even they were. You could see them. Everybody was. She had everyone eating out of the palm of her hand.
Yeah, it was the best, and she knew it too. Like when you're in that moment, like she's just like just leaning into it even more.
I'm gonna play this up. Yeah,
like oh my god, the way she was sitting, everything about it. She's just cigarette.
They threw me out on the roof of a Long John Silver with my pink out and my stink out. And
not my worst Tuesday night, just.
Oh, it's so good.
So fucking good. Speaking of Long John Silver's,
Panera.
So this is this was big news. I've heard it a lot of different places, but first of all, I didn't realize Panera Bread had a goddamn I don't know, supercharged lemonade.
Well, and the name of it is it's I think it's just called Panera's Charged Lemonade, which sounds like they've dropped batteries into a glass of lemonade. I don't understand why.
I don't when I think of energy drink and pick me up, I don't be like Panera. That's what we need.
I'm thinking a cup of coffee, maybe a Danish, and a bread bowl with some broccoli cheddar soup. Or if you're like, I need a
boost, you're like Red Bull, Monster, right? 5-hour energy. You're like, those are the things you go to. You don't be like, I got to go to Panera Bread and get this charged fucking lemonade.
No.
So, the reason why this is in the news is 2 people have died after drinking this. Yeah. 2 people that have had heart conditions. Have drank this and then had complications afterwards, and so they're being sued currently for, allegedly killing people with their drink. So I don't know how familiar you are with milligrams of caffeine or whatever, but the Panera Charged Lemonade in a 130-ounce glass of this has 390 milligrams of caffeine. So the maximum amount of caffeine allowed in any particular drink, I believe, is 400 milligrams by the FDA. So this just
not in a drink. That is what the FDA says healthy adults can consume a day.
A day, yeah.
400 milligrams a day throughout however many drinks, but don't go over this.
Yeah. So one drink, 390 milligrams.
A cup of coffee is roughly 95 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah.
So,
to kind of give you a comparison, 130-ounce glass of this Panera Charged Lemonade is equivalent to 11 and a half cans of Coca-Cola. 11 and a half 12-ounce cans of Coca-Cola, because one 12-ounce can of Coca-Cola has 34 milligrams. So you need to drink 11 and a half of those to equal one Panera Charged Lemonade.
Even in your heyday, I don't think you ever reached 11 and a half cans.
Listen, I consumed a lot of soda. That would probably be like a holiday. Like that's like a Thanksgiving or a Christmas.
Yeah.
And just going ham on that. Like that's a lot. And again, I'm just really curious with Panera's strategy here. Like, what we ought to offer You know what we got to get into on? Because what are we known for? What are we really known for? I don't know, bread bowls, mac and cheese, whatever. I think we got to get in with energy drinks. When people come here, they want comfort food and they want to get fucking jacked to the tits.
We're leaving money on the table, guys. All right? We can corner this market.
We want comfort food and fucking caffeine,
The yuppies don't have a place to consume a ton of caffeine.
Hipsters want bread bowls and almost 400 milligrams of caffeine per drink.
When someone's eating their panini, they need they need 400 milligrams of liquid caffeine. The thing is that the dude that recently died on this, he drank 3 of them.
Yeah.
3.
Yeah. Dennis Brown of Fleming Island, Florida, drank 3 charged lemonades from a local Panera on October 9th and then suffered a fatal cardiac arrest on his way home. So this guy consumed
almost 1,200 milligrams of caffeine.
Yeah. In one sitting.
Yeah.
And Jesus Christ, no wonder his body was like, nope. And he already had like a heart condition. So Now the question is, are they, and I don't know if it talks about in this, is it clear, because I know like McDonald's now up in the menus behind the thing, they actually say, here's how much, sodium or calories, and like they're giving, I think the FDA required them to do that. Is Panera advertising how much caffeine is actually in one of these? Obviously not, because the other young woman who died, 22-year-old, she was aware of her heart condition and rigorously, supposedly, monitored what she ate and drank. So, if that is to be true, we would assume that this young woman would have been like, "Oh, fuck no, I can't drink that." That would be really bad.
Oh, I didn't see this. So this is interesting. It's unclear whether Brown knew how much caffeine and other stimulants were in the drink, which at the time of his death was available in the self-service dispensers and offered side by side with all the other stores' non-caffeinated and or less caffeinated drinks.
Yeah, because
so it's just sitting there in the fucking soda fountain.
Right, because you're like, oh, I'm going to get a lemonade.
Right.
You don't
a lemonade with a boost of caffeine? How I don't want coffee, so maybe I'll just, that's fun.
It's charged up. That's cool.
Yeah, exactly. You think that you're getting a lemonade with the same amount of caffeine as a cup of coffee. You just don't have to have coffee breath. That's right. What a great afternoon treat,
Yeah. Plus, there's also 30 teaspoons of sugar in this fucking drink, too. So, there's that.
Jesus Christ.
Boy, your body, I would love a personification of what your body's doing when you consume that. Because between the sugar and the caffeine, it's got to be, it's probably like doing a line of Coke, I imagine.
Yeah.
Your body's like,
if it makes you want to smoke.
I mean, what does your heart think? Your heart's like, I don't know what's in our system, man, but we gotta go. Just starts just doing push-ups, Oh my God. Have you ever had an insane amount, an unusual amount of caffeine in your body?
Yes,
I don't feel like I've ever consumed enough to have a super physical reaction.
I have had enough coffee on some mornings where, not recently, but I have had enough when we started when they redid our offices before the pandemic and they put this big fancy coffee dispensing mechanism, this big machine. We all drank way too much coffee, and I definitely had a few mornings where I could feel my heart was and I was jittery, and I didn't feel right. I just overall did not feel right. And so I can't imagine. And I know at that time I probably had maybe 6 cups of coffee, maybe 6 just over cups of coffee.
That's a lot.
Throughout the course of the first 4 hours of the day or something like that, right? Yeah. So again,
dude, what were your dumps like with that?
The rocket fuel. I broke the bottom of the porcelain.
Because I've heard about the coffee dumps. I don't drink coffee, so
the coffee dumps they're real.
Yeah, they come firing out with purpose.
Well, what's amazing is if you drink the night before.
Oh,
the hangover dumps are a real thing too. The booze dumps is a big thing. So if you drink the night before, then you wake up and you slam a couple cups of coffee, that dump is epic. That is something else.
I would love to see the personification of your bowels. when that happens.
Oh, I was gonna say you don't want to see it, Doug. Trust
No,
me.
send me pictures.
All right.
This weekend,
Yeah,
get hammered on Friday, and on Saturday morning, 2 giant mugs of coffee, and just show me what comes out.
Beth's like, is this your third glass of scotch? It is. It's in the name of science, Beth.
Listen, Doug asked for it. Okay.
Doug wants. This is research. Doug wants to see my poop.
Yeah.
Don't ask questions.
She's like, I'm sorry,
sense.
what? Yeah, he wants to see my poop. I'm also going to drink a lot of coffee tomorrow. So
obviously, you don't listen to the podcast.
Yeah. So
it's all laid out.
Thanks for not supporting me. And then it turns into a big fight about how she doesn't support you. And it's less about you deflecting, Doug wants to see my poop,
Doug wants to see my poop.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I don't know. This is, I can't imagine. So again, even with that, just like the uncomfortableness that I felt, and that was nowhere near the amount that he consumed. I can't imagine what he was physically feeling like.
I think the grossest I've ever felt was when I was in junior high. I was like, a lot of us were dumb and thinking like, you got to have a lot of sugar before you go to the track meet and run. So that you have a lot of like energy. So like, I remember slamming like a whole bag of Skittles and a can of Jolt Cola.
Oh no.
And basically that sugar and that soda just like sat like a rock in my stomach. And I was like, ugh. I just felt, I don't think I've ever really, maybe I have. And maybe, I don't know. It's like when someone goes, man, tea tastes so good. And I'm like, man, I can't wait to have tea. I'm like, why does this taste like shit? It's because my expectations are it's going to taste like something way better than what tea tastes like. And so I thought it was the same thing of like, when does caffeine hit me and wake me up? I think it probably does have an effect. I think I'm expecting a larger boost to what I've gotten. Because there were times when I was training and I would, all of a sudden I'm like, man, like midday after lunch, I'm feeling like shit and I have to go and, present for an hour. I would drink a Mountain Dew to like, I was like, it's a Mountain Dew kind of day. And I go drink a Mountain Dew and I guess it would make me feel a little better to some extent. Wasn't proud of it, but so I guess to some extent it did work. But I think what I was expecting was this like, whoa,
Right.
But
you were expecting like an adrenaline shot or a bump of cocaine. Like you were expecting that just like, we're in now, let's do it.
Yeah. But really what it was is it probably was working. I just didn't. Because I've always been like, I don't feel like caffeine affects me, but I don't think it affects me like I think it's going to.
Exactly,
so,
yeah. And if you have enough of it, it will. Because I feel the same way. I do feel like I've built up some sort of a tolerance to it now. Mm-hmm. Just because I've drunk coffee for so many years of my life and I don't do decaf. So, but at the same time, I think people have a misconception about, because when we grow up, we're watching cartoons. That someone puts a pot of coffee down and then they're like their eyes bug out and then they start running circles around the room and it's like, that's what coffee is. Great.
Yeah.
That's what caffeine is. Great.
Yeah. And it's I think you're right. There's like definitely a tolerance to it where it becomes like a routine where, I know a lot of people that like my mom used to say she didn't drink coffee until she started teaching because she just needed to get up and be able to get up and go. So it just became, she would drink it black too, like nothing in it. So that was just like the thing that she did, and it was part of the routine was get up, have coffee. That was like part of like what helped jumpstart her in the day. And for me, to sound really cool, it's stretching and walking is like my thing that breaks me out of like my morning fatigue. Yeah. So I stretch for 35 minutes and I go on a 3.5 mile walk, and then I'm like, okay, I'm awake.
Not to derail this, but I wanted to ask you a question, and what better time to ask a personal question than on the podcast?
Yeah.
Do you find
you want to know what my dumps are like?
Yeah, can you send me pictures?
I'll tell you what, man, it's regular.
I like the fact that you reached for something. I thought maybe it was your phone that you already had pictures of it on there. You should have an album,
like,
a shared album.
Just all of a sudden, a whole bunch of stuff just pops up.
Stop airdropping this to me.
Like, oh my god! No, I'm not looking at this. Anyway, you were saying.
When I wake up in the morning, I am so stiff. My back is stiff. My hamstrings and my like everything is just it's stiff. And I feel like if I were to wake up and I were to start working out, I would absolutely just demolish my body. I would pull something. You waking up and stretching, have you noticed an effect on how you feel when you wake up?
100%.
You have
like stretching is
Even before you
necessity.
stretch, though, like are you just in general looser? Do you wake up stiff and then you work it out, or do you wake up a little bit looser now?
There's definitely like when I've gone and stayed with my in-laws and I get up in the morning just to walk Loki and like I don't take the time to stretch before I walk, there's a noticeable difference. I am very stiff. I'm like, oh, I don't like this, especially like my lower back. When I take about 35 minutes to do my stretch routine, and when I'm after that, I'm ready to walk and I feel really good and I feel loose and everything. And I also do a lot of warm-ups before I lift. So I stretch, I walk, and then I go to the gym, and then I do like 5 minutes of on the row machine, and then I do like probably 2 to 3 minutes of warm-up exercises before I actually get into lifting, because I need my body to be warm and ready to go. Long gone are the days of like, I show up at the gym and just start doing bench press without any sort of warm-up whatsoever. Like, those days are long gone. That ain't happening anymore.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's really important for me to do that. So glad I could help.
Okay, yeah. Hey, I just wanted to know, and I felt I know you do it every day, so
yeah,
I see the alerts.
I see your alerts, and congratulations, man, on closing those rings. Way to go!
Thank you. Did I close them today?
I don't fucking know.
Almost.
I bet your dad.
No, you're not Kurt Russell.
I'm not Kurt Russell. I'm not like the other guy.
Yeah, why do we both just Dennis Farina? Yeah.
There we go.
I'm like, why do we both just blank on this?
I was going to say Eric Padilla. Don't know who that is. I think I just made that up, but you know.
Great.
So to Eric Padilla, if you're out there, shout out.
Hey, we're looking to cash you in something. Let us get at us.
Get at us. You know, just hit me up at dougcochran.net and check out the cool photos from the real Doug Cochran.
So, is there a small part of you that's curious to try this?
Absolutely.
Sharks Lemonade? Yeah.
I
am too.
I wouldn't want to drink all of it, but I'd love to try it. Like just a sip of it and just be like, how awful is this? You know, because I don't know, something tells me like my mouth is puckering just thinking about it, because I'm sure it's between the sweetness and the tartness of it. I'm sure it'd be like, because I've also heard like, I have taken a sip of like a 5-hour energy and I'm like, who the fuck drinks this? There's like this chemical.
I have slammed 5-hour energies before, and only to get me through the next 5 hours.
Right. And there's a chemical sort of taste smell to it. I don't think it's the case with this, where you think you're just drinking lemonade. You know what I mean?
So absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's the same with it's the same. It's a similar
Monster, Red Bull, all that
Red
stuff.
Bull. They all have that twinge of like almost like Robitussin flavor or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but yeah.
Yeah. So
and I have to imagine
would love
this
to take a taste.
But I would say that I do hope that Panera, is held accountable for this. I feel really bad for the two families that lost someone to this. It's horrible. I mean, it's not, shouldn't have happened. And I do hope Panera, pays the piper, if you will.
Panera's response currently is Panera stands firmly by the safety of its products. I'm like,
do you?
Sure about that?
Do you?
You sure about that?
This is where we're digging our heels in, Panera?
This is the hill you're going to die on.
Yeah.
Branding, Panera Bread, fucking charged lemonade. It'll fucking kill you,
Right, yeah.
They're like, yeah, it'll be a real big hit. There's such a huge disconnect between what I view as the brand of Panera Bread and this product. They do not line up at all.
Absolutely.
If you told me this was at Taco Bell, I'd believe it. All right, like
those
100%.
new Taco Bell cantinas, because then you just put a little bit of booze in it, and now it's just Four Loko with lemonade.
100%. Like that makes total sense to me. But Panera, like I don't get it, man. And the fact that they're like, nah, man. We did research and development on this. We built this. And this is our thing. And, I don't give a shit who dies. We're selling this fucking lemonade. It's like, okay.
It's a
cool story, bro.
I just needed to check it out. There's 156 milligrams of caffeine in a 23-ounce can of Four Loko.
That's crazy.
Yeah. 70 milligrams in a 12-ounce Jolt.
That's crazy.
So still not as much as coffee, so you're good.
Oh, man, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah.
In other, fast food news.
Right. Wait, where's our topic music?
Oh, that's right. 1 second.
Where's our topic change music?
Yeah. Let's get to the good stuff. So I heard this story and I was like, I cannot wait. This is going on the list. This is the fucking best. So if you haven't heard about this, I've also heard about this in multiple places. There was a woman in Ohio who assaulted a Chipotle worker. So the way this allegedly went down, this woman, Rosemary Hain, was at a Chipotle, and supposedly she went in, she ordered her food bowl. They made it for her. She didn't like it. Said they did something wrong. They remade it for her. Still had a problem with it. They ended up remaking it supposedly like 4 times. And they did it, and they did it, and did it. And on that last time, Miss Rosemary Hain took that bowl and threw it in the employee's face. A whole bunch of hot food, just wha-pow, right in the face. And she was arrested, and she was found guilty. And I forget what the official charge is, but basically assault, more or less. Yeah. And so when it came to hand down the sentence, the judge goes, I'm going to give you 2 options. You can spend 90 days in jail, or you can spend 30 days in jail and do 60 days working at a fast food restaurant. Which one would you like to do? And Miss Rosemary Hain said she would like to do the latter. She agreed to do 30 days in jail, followed by 60 days at a fast food restaurant.
Yeah. And I could not be happier that she is forced to do this. I also hope that people figure out which Chipotle she's working at. And I don't want them to assault her, but man, do I want them to go in and make sure that they give her the full customer service treatment. Anyone who's worked in a service job knows exactly what we're talking about. Yeah. And she deserves to feel what it feels like to work in that thankless job.
Yeah. I was just reading kind of the quote from Miss Hain here.
Oh, from her? Yeah.
Yeah, in court, Hain apologized and tried to explain the rationale behind her screaming at the Chipotle worker, who was 26-year-old Emily Russell. She says, if I showed you how my food looked and how my food looked a week later from that same restaurant, it's disgusting looking. That's such a confusing sentence.
That is someone who is really just clawing for any semblance of an excuse. She's really working hard.
The fault from the judge goes, I bet you won't be happy with the food you're going to get in the jail.
You and I have talked about this in previous episodes, though, where I think where people are should be required to work some amount of time in a service job just so they understand what it's like.
Yeah. The idea that you would walk into a fast food restaurant with lofty expectations of anything. Like, listen, everyone deserves to have a meal that is good. That's subjective. But when I walk into a Chipotle, I know what I'm getting. When I walk into a McDonald's, I know what I'm getting. My expectations are set. All right. Mm-hmm. And I've also never been in a situation where my food was so poorly prepared that I've been like, I'm going to fucking throw this in somebody's face. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like I've never, and if I did that, if I got to the point where I did that, I think 5 minutes later, I would probably be the most embarrassed person. I'd be mortified that I let my emotions get the best of me. Well,
I want to know when she says that it was disgusting. You should have seen the way the food looked. If you had them make it 4 times, Chipotle is set up so you can see what they're doing. Like if they're doing something and like smushing it down or mixing it the way you don't like, I don't understand. If you're looking at the line and you're like, that food looks sus, I'm out. Like, don't get the bowl. Like, you can see what they're putting in it before they put in it. So really, it's on you for going through and having them remake it 4 times. If it didn't look good, then walk the fuck out of the store. That's it.
Each time, guess what? It's a really good point. You're seeing the tins that they're pulling this from. Like, what?
Yes.
What's going to change on the second, the third, and the fourth take of this? Like, I don't understand what's going to happen. And
then at the end of the day, if you don't like it, then say, hey, this still doesn't look right. I'd like my money back, and walk out the store.
Yeah.
Walk out. I guarantee you there's another Chipotle down the road or some other restaurant you can eat at. You've got your options. If you're eating at Chipotle, you've got options.
I've been incredibly frustrated at a Halal Guys right before you and I used to, when you and I used to go meet up and record in person. There's a Halal Guys, which was so good, right across the street from where we record. And one day I went in there and there was a line of people and everything like that. And I was in line and someone just literally stopped making my meal. And they were just doing, and they were taking everyone else's stuff and they just literally stopped making my stuff. And I just was like looking around. I'm like, what the fuck? You guys are not, they just abandoned it. Right. And I waited there for like a minute or two and I'm like, no one's, and you know what I did? I fucking turned around and I just left. I was like, my half created order. I'm like, okay, if you have completely abandoned me, then I'm abandoning this meal and I'm going to go to fucking Panda Express around the corner. Yeah, like I didn't stop my foot and be like, look at me. I was like, this is a shit show and I don't want to be a part of this. I'm out. I'm done. And because I've worked in customer service. I've worked at a hotel for many years. And as we've heard the countless stories. And I was frustrated with their process, but I'm not going to scream at them because what does that accomplish? Nothing. It just made me hesitant to go back there, and I gave them feedback. I went to their website and I was like, I had a bad experience. This is what it was. I'm not looking for anything. I'm not looking for whatever. I'm just being like, hey, this is something you all should probably work on. It's just a bit of good feedback for you guys. Like, it sucks because I love your food, but now I don't want to go back there. Yeah. So I didn't try to pick a fight with someone on the other side of the glass, And it says Hain, what is her name again? Rosemary Hain. She's 39, right? 39 years old. She's our age. She's our age. Which means that she should be familiar enough with popular culture and internet culture to understand the repercussions when something like this happens. Most people, I would argue, should be familiar with this doesn't ever get you anywhere. Yeah. Anytime someone does this, you end up a meme, you end up on a joke on Saturday Night Live, you end up a topic on My Gap podcast. They should know this by now. Obviously. Like this is like it never, and also like if let's say she was just sitting there yelling at the person, anyone who's worked in the service job, when I worked at the Container Store, I used to love, we worked in Lincoln Park and there are some very there's some lovely people who live in Lincoln Park. There are also some very entitled people who live in Lincoln Park. And when any of those people would come in, I would relish when they would get mad because they would try and try. They would stomp their feet. Their voice would raise. They would demand this, this, and this. And I'm like, look, this is just my shift ends at a certain time. So you can you do this all you want. This makes no difference to me. So like to the people who do this kind of shit, you're not winning. Nothing about this is either painting you in a good light or getting you any sort of ground. No. So I don't understand why people continue. Like I understand losing your temper. I understand where you're just like, maybe you had a bad day, something snaps, and you're just like, God damn it. There are ways as an adult to process that and to handle it. And there are, and you should be also familiar enough with these stories where you know how this is going to end for you. And I don't understand why people keep going back to this well. It just baffles me. Well, I think part of it is, people, this is going to seem like a really hokey and obvious thing. People don't know how to manage their emotions, Sure. Like it's lack of emotional intelligence, and they're not really mad at that. They're mad at something else. Like you said, that it's probably a bad day that's built up to it. For me, it's easy to sit back and be like, ma'am, you're at a Chipotle. Okay. Like this isn't, this isn't, that's like going to Subway and being like, this food's kind of gross. It's like, of course it is. It's Subway. Like, what do you
look around?
Look around. All right. You get what you pay for. And, I've been disappointed. I was disappointed at Halal guys, but
you're paying $4 for a roast beef sandwich. Look around.
Yeah. Right. Take a look around. Yeah. So I don't know. I just, the idea too that, people look at fast food workers like they're the scum of the earth. Like they're not worthy of your time. And there's a time and place to confront someone who's giving you bad customer service, right?
Sure. Look, they're not always right. Like the worker sometimes is in the wrong.
Yeah. To be, it doesn't mean when I say confront, it doesn't mean put up your dukes. It means to call it out and be like, hey, this kind of sucks. Like, for me, I'm very much I give what you give. And so I try to be as kind as possible because I've been there to some degree of what it's like to serve someone. So I'm like, I want to be that customer interaction that is going to make your day easy. Make this as easy as possible. If someone's like, we're slammed right now. I'm like, hey, no worries. I got time. Like, I'm not going to, don't worry about it. I'm going to be super chill. I'm going to wait. Once you finish with a customer, I'm going to wait for you to wave me forward because I know sometimes you got to finish up some stuff. People just like, my turn. They come right up and I'm like, it's cool. I will come when it's time. Like, I'll show up and it'll be good, whatever. But if you're a dick to me, I'm going to be like, hey, I'm not trying to be mean or anything here. I'm just looking for some food and I don't think I deserve that. Like, I'm on your side. Let's keep going here. Like I'll try to call that stuff out. But the idea that you would just, that the person that got hit by this quit. She was so frustrated by this, she ended up fucking quitting, and which is, this isn't what people should have to go through working in any kind of job for that matter.
No, you should never be physically assaulted when you go to work, unless your work is an MMA fighter.
Exactly, and that's totally different. And actually, you made a point about this, and obviously I think SNL made a point about this too. Kind of like the darker side of this is like, hey, do you want to go to jail or do you want to work in fast food?
Right. So to anyone who works in fast food, fast food, your job is other people's prison.
Right. Exactly. It's like,
so that, and I guess a lot of people probably feel like it is their prison as well. Like it's not, like, we can all agree it's not the most glamorous job. Fast food jobs are not the most glamorous jobs to work, and a lot of people probably feel stuck when they're in there. And so maybe have a little bit of empathy on that side too. If you're standing on the other side ordering, and someone's making it for you, maybe think about, how's this person's day going? Like they're stuck behind there making a burrito bowl for me. Do you think they're
also, hey fucker, why don't you go home and cook yourself a meal? Huh? You ever thought about that?
Give that a shot.
You think about that, rosemary? Huh? Your name is a fucking herb. You ever thought about using it?
Go cook yourself.
Yeah, go cook yourself, bitch.
No, I think the other thing I'll say is just, again, to anyone listening that has not heard us rail on this in the past. I just closed all 3 rings, by the way, sitting here. That's what I do. I burn calories by sitting. Oh, okay. Thought we had one more. No, anyone who has not listened to us go on about this in previous episodes, which we have, I'll say that if you have not worked a service job, when you go in, the phrase, the saying, you catch more honey, or you catch more flies with honey, is very, very true. Go in, and if you have a bad experience, calmly ask to talk to the manager instead of screaming, "Show me, get me the." And if you get the manager, calmly explain the situation and say how it made you feel. Don't point fingers. Don't scream. Have a conversation. Get your point across, but do it in a very calm, measured way. And I guarantee things are going to turn out much different than if you come in hot and bothered. I absolutely guarantee that.
Yeah, because consider what it'd be like for you if someone came in hot and bothered. Like the amount of times I had to explain to people how the American banking system works because they didn't understand how their debit card worked.
Oh, the holds and shit?
Oh, it was exhausting. Where people are like, and I would always say, just so you know, this is going to take whatever we're going to put on here as a hold, and it's going to tie up your money. Oh, just run it as a credit. This is a debit card. I can't run it as a credit because it's tied to your bank account. It's tied to your checking account.
When you explained it like that, did it help?
Especially if they were Italian, they'd be like, he's speaking my language.
I get it now. So easy.
Prego. I get it. It makes sense. It's a hold, but the bank have their own policies, and then they will release it on their own time. Exactly. That's exactly how it works. And I remember one guy one time was like,
charge it. Woohoo!
Woohoo! And then just like jumped out, going, it was weird. I don't know why they were glowing. But this one guy was like, he's like, so you gonna pay me back in interest? I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, I'm sorry. He goes, well, you're holding my money, so like, shouldn't I get paid in interest? I'm like, we are not a bank, sir. That's not how this works. Your bank is putting the hold on it. So
you're fundamentally misunderstanding how this works.
And sometimes it was just so fucking sad because people like would go there in the wintertime when it was super cheap
Yeah.
And they were on a super tight budget, and all they had was a debit card, and we had to hold for incidentals. Yeah. And it was like $75, and people were like, "That's all the money I had to like buy food."
That is heartbreaking.
And I was like, "I'm so sorry." They're like, "Can I get it back?" And I'm like, "No." And then there's the people like, "Well, just give me cash." I'm like, "That's not how this works."
Nope. Yeah.
That's not how this works. No.
We didn't charge you. We don't have that money.
They're like, "But I don't have access to that money." I'm like, "If I give you this money and then they release that money, you've taken that money from us. That's not how this works. No, that's not going to."
Dude, I can't. That conversation would have driven me nuts to go round and round with that.
We
that
had signs all over the front desk. It was on the sign-in sheet. We would say it, and still people would be like, "What the fuck?" And I'm like, "Oh," just having those, or people would be like, "Just turn everything off." In my room, I'm like, "Well, there's nothing to turn off." We're not that kind of hotel.
Oh, you think there's a mini bar in there? Oh, no.
There's just we're not going to use the mini bar. I'm like, "Oh, you mean the vending machines?" Because that's what we got.
No, you can use the fridge in there. No, the mini bar. You can use the fridge.
Yeah, that's fine.
Put anything you want in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not plugged in, but you can put anything you want in there.
But what the implication was like, if you fuck up this room, I've got to have something that's going to offset the costs.
Right.
Like, well, I'm not gonna use the phone. I'm like, do you know how many times I've fucking heard that, sir?
You're not.
Do you know how many times people have told me, well, I'm not gonna, and then those same assholes go down in the restaurant and they say, charge it to the room, and there's no card on the room. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because we'd have to do that every day. The restaurant would come over and be like, check these people out. They said that they're charging. Does it make sense? And I'm like, nope, fuck them. Like, don't lock them out of the room until they come by the. Oh, it was exhausting. So
you look at them and they say, but I'm not going to do that. Do I look like a bitch? What? Do I look like a bitch?
What the fuck did you say to me?
Then
You're not going to do it?
Fuck me like one.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Just not going to do it. Yeah. Do you know how many drunk guys? We've had to literally break down the door to get into some places because people just like have locked and barricaded themselves in, and we've had to like cut through the door to get there.
That's bonkers. That is absolutely bonkers.
Listen, man, like every customer service has bonkers stories, but when you deal with where people are staying, once people are staying the night, man, the stakes get raised.
If you're dealing with one of the
Maslow's hierarchy,
if you're dealing with one of the core hierarchies, core needs,
food, lodging, like that stuff, big deal. But when people are staying the night, that's when things really ramp up because you're like, shit's going down, man. Like, shit's going down. Like anything can happen at this point in time, and it gets real. And that has taught me so much about. Whenever I'm anywhere and dealing with someone, it gave me so much empathy for people that are doing jobs because also when you're shouting at that front level person, guess what? That person didn't make the fucking rules that they're being told they have to follow as part of their job. They didn't write the goddamn policy. Okay. Right. So you're screaming at someone who has no stake in what's going on. And when people are like, you know what? I'm just going to go somewhere else. That's the best fucking news we've all heard all day.
Oh, yeah. It's not coming out of my paycheck, so go ahead.
Oh, no, the stock price. Oh, my God. Like, I worked at a private fucking hotel that always wanted to sell out all the rooms, and I could give a fuck. I preferred that not to be sold out because you know what? I didn't see shit when the hotel got sold out. And I remember some of the guys that had been there for a while, they're like, how come we don't get a bonus when this place is sold out? Where's our incentive to sell this place out? Because it fucking sucks when this place is sold out because our rooms suck.
Right.
Like most of them were fine, but there were several that sucked. And when we sold out, we had to rent out those rooms that sucked.
Well, also you lost the leverage because if you had extra rooms, then you had an ace up your sleeve. You could actually be like, I got you. If something happened, there was a way to solve it. So your hands were tied behind your back on that.
I hated the nights where we were almost sold out or were sold out because I was like, we don't have any flexibility. Like, because the amount of times someone's like, there's something wrong in that room, I want to move. It's like, you can't. Right. You are stuck where you are. This is it. We have no other rooms. Or God forbid you're overbooked. And then someone comes in and they're like, I'm here to check in. And you're like, thankfully, I never had to do that. I came really close. But I was like, I never had to be like, we got to get you somewhere else. And they're like, what the fuck? You gave my room away? And you're like, no, we just overbooked. Yeah. And from a management standpoint, they're like, we're maximizing profit. Whenever we're sold out, that's the max profit we can make for the day. That's awesome. As someone who worked there, I'm like, this fucking sucks.
Right.
Fucking don't care. I'm like, yay, a cancellation. They're like, no, we were at 99.2%. Oh, sell that room. I'm like, why? What?
I'll tell you what,
I don't
I'll
care.
sell that room when you come up here and work your shift. How's that sound?
No shit, man.
Yeah?
Like
Okay.
I was like, when people were like, we looked at a lot of hotels and we chose this one and we're disappointed that it doesn't have a view. And I'm like, what are you saying? They're like, I think maybe we should just cancel our reservation. I'm like, grabbing the mouse. I'm like hovering over
Go
cancel.
on.
I'm like, you have to say that. I need you to legally say that you're going to cancel your reservation. I need to hear you say it out loud to me. Are you canceling? And they're like, We'll think about it. I'm like, no. Just say it. I'll do it. No charge. I'll cancel your shit right now because my life will be infinitely better with you not here.
Right.
Than having to deal with you calling down and being like, yeah, I don't like this. I don't like that. I'm like, just fucking go. I don't care. I don't give a shit. I don't care about any of this. This sucks. I don't like being here. They talk about one of the worst hamster wheels of all time. You come in, people leave, and you wait for people to come back in. Then every day you do it again. Mm-hmm. Fucking people come and clean the rooms. People fix the shit that's broken. And every single day, it's just this horrible cycle of in and out, out.
It's a very impractical way of living.
100%.
And it had to have driven you nuts because it was so impractical.
Yeah, it drove my nuts,
It did.
You got the questions, we got the answers. All you do is ask. Practical, 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 practical. Ask Practical Doug.
I'm gonna come.
Yes, sir.
I haven't done that one in a while.
We all are when it's time for Ask Practical Doug. So if you've never been here before, Ask Practical Doug is the small Doug that lives inside of Big Doug, and he guides Big Doug through all of life's questions, its issues, its quandaries, its quagmires, and guides Doug to the other side unscathed. If you want to ask Practical Doug a
Did I
question,
die in this scenario?
no, you came out the other side,
the other side unscathed.
Yeah, the other side of the problem, unscathed. If
Follow
you'd like
Practical Doug to the end of your life.
if you would like Practical Doug to shepherd you across the
river
Hades, the river Styx, with 2 coins in your eyes, you can ask him questions on any social media at MindGap Podcast, #AskPracticalDoug, or on our Discord, link in the description below. We have a channel set up for asking Practical Doug questions. Today, though, we are going back to one of our favorite subreddits, Am I the Asshole? And we're going to answer a little question here from Eastern List 9533. They want to know, Dear Doug, am I the asshole for not wanting anyone else invited to dinner? My partner and I had made plans to go to a nice restaurant in town. I booked us the table, and we were really looking forward to it. My girlfriend then messages me and asks if she can invite her mom. I say no, since it's just meaning... It's just meant to be us going. She doesn't let it go and invites her mom anyways, and it tells me it'll still be a good night. She then mentioned that she was paying for her mom's meal. I asked if she was paying for my meal as well, and she said no, because it would cost too much. I just pointed that in the 2 years we've been together, I don't actually think she's bought me a meal once when we've been out, yet despite me doing it for her quite a few times, and she's offering to buy her mom's food on a night she wasn't even invited on. My girlfriend accused me of making her feel bad, but I just pointed out it seems like she doesn't actually value how I feel about the situation, and spent the night completely disregarding my opinion on a night that I had planned for us. She just said I was starting arguments over nothing. Am I the asshole for not wanting her mom at the meal?
That's a good question. There's
a lot of nuance in this one.
There is. There's a lot of nuance. And while I feel like Eastern List 9533 is making their point eloquently here, I'm willing to bet they didn't communicate this effectively to their partner.
I would take that wager, absolutely.
Because if this was a special night out for them, in my opinion, would be they should have clearly said, hey, this is a special night out for us. It would mean a lot to me if maybe we could find a different time for your mom tonight. I just want to spend that time with you.
Yeah.
Because also halfway through this, it turns into like, how come you didn't pay for my meal? It's weird. It's kind of like,
right. There's some expectation.
I don't know. It was just strange because it's like, oh, they invited their mom and she paid for her mom's meal, but she didn't pay for my meal. And she's never paid for my meal. I'm like, I think we're losing focus here of what we're trying to, what are you really mad about? Are you mad about her not paying for your meal, or are you mad that her mom came? Because which is it?
It feels like one thing happened because of a deep-rooted issue on the other. Like the other thing was more of like the root cause, and it just manifested itself in a different way. It
was another thing like that kind of like tacked on and another thing.
Yeah,
she's paying for her mom's meal, but not for my meal, and she's never paid for my meal before.
Right.
I'm like, oh,
which is the thing that's probably been bugging him for much longer. I think that's probably the thing that's really rubbed him raw, and then the mom coming along was kind of the icing on the cake, and that's where it manifested itself.
Yeah, it definitely seems like one thing led to the other in it. So I don't think you're an asshole for not wanting someone else to come with you. I'm going to say you might be an asshole because you didn't communicate this effectively. Because based on how this is written and this sort of stream of consciousness, I'm getting the vibe that you didn't straight up just say, you're saying that she doesn't value how you feel. Did you communicate it effectively? Because if you didn't, my girlfriend messaged me and asked if she can invite her mom. I say no, since it's just meant to be the two of us. She doesn't let it go and invites her mom anyway and tells me it'll still be a good night. I feel like there's some details missing there.
Absolutely. It does not feel complete.
It doesn't feel like, because I'm like, maybe in your mind, you told her, hey, this is special, it should just be us, but she didn't hear it that way. So right. I would say there needs to be an improvement on the communication there as far as how that goes. To be like, hey, listen, like I said, I had planned on this just being a night out for you and I. I would really like to do that. Perhaps we can schedule a time for you, me, and your mom to go at another time. But for tonight, I really just want this to be us. I kind of want us to have this night. I kind of just want to have you to myself tonight. I hope that's cool because, I love you so much and whatever. And I want to spend this time with you. And if that's not the case, if we're taking this at his word, and if he did communicate effectively and she was still like, no, I'm inviting my mom anyway, that is a dick move, I would say for the overall question, are you an asshole for not wanting her mom at the meal? No. But I don't think that's the issue here.
Right. The base level question, no, but
yeah.
There's a lot of things that are suspect in this write up.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with I've been to places where I'm like, yeah, I really wish no one else was here right now. Sure. I really wish this was just me and whomever or whatever. And you're never an asshole for wanting it that way if that's what your plans and expectations were. So yeah, base question, no. But we've got some other things we got to unpack here.
With a giant base question, no, with a giant asterisk.
Yeah, what's really going on here?
Yeah.
What's really bugging you? Are you mad that you've always paid for her meals and she's never paid for yours? Was that an expectation in the relationship? Because this is 3 paragraphs. One paragraph is about her mom coming to the meal uninvited. The second one is a lot about you and her, who's paying for what. So which one is it?
Yeah. This feels split.
Yes, it's a split decision.
Split decision.
So yeah, you're not an asshole, but with an asterisk. So
yeah,
here we go. So for that, we'll say,
ho ho ho.
It is decided.
Yay! All right. Well, Justin, what would you like to recommend this week?
In my trend of watching things in a timely fashion, I am going to recommend The Whale, the Brendan Fraser movie that won all the awards in this last round of awards. Earlier this year, came out last year. It was a good movie, man. I see why it won. I see why it got all the Oscar buzz. It's sad. It's one that I would say, give it its due. Like, really sit down and watch it. Don't if you're gonna watch it, don't watch it in the 20-minute chunks like you normally do. It's not one of those movies. I feel like you really do need to sit down and kind of give this one some attention, allow the emotions to wash over you, kind of feel it. And it's just, it's a really interesting, I think it's a really interesting character study. So I would say high recommend for me for The Whale. Have you seen it?
Nope, I haven't.
Okay.
I've seen the cover of it. Yeah.
There you go.
Can't help but notice that Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse isn't on there, Justin.
It's not.
Can't imagine why it wouldn't be on your recommendations when you've watched it.
Well, I watched The Whale first, if that helps.
Okay. I'm just saying the world's watching. Just want you to know that. Okay? The world's watching.
I hope so. Look, if we can get the world to watch, I'll buy the world a Coke. I'll buy the world a Charge Limited.
And we will take care of overpopulation real quick with that.
And we'll really make that a quick thing. So, Doug, what do you have to recommend?
I actually recommend. I don't rarely recommend these, but the Dune Part 2 Trailer 3. Justin's doing the math.
Okay, got it. Yep, I got it. I'm there.
That's coming out in March. It's Dune Part 2. And it's
Yep.
the third trailer for it. I watched it today multiple times, and I haven't done that in a while for a movie.
Okay.
But it really grabbed me, and I was like, whoa, I'm really excited for this movie. I liked Part 1. I thought it was really good. Part 2 looks exceptional. I looked at the other trailers. I'm like, yeah, it looks good. For whatever reason, this one grabbed me. I was like, okay.
I will have to look at the third trailer now.
I'm like pumped. I'm like, all right, this is cool. Like I'm all right. March. I think I might go to the theater for this one. Okay, it might get me out there. All right, this is pretty exciting. So
Huzzah.
I recommend it. I think you should all go check that out. And hopefully, I don't know, I was just watching it being like, man, how do you make a movie like this? Like, this shit looks good, you know? Like, the CG is top notch. I'm like, man.
Dude, if you watch the there's some making of special features and stuff like that out there for Part 1, go check them out if you're at all interested in how they did it, because they did some really cool shit. And some of the stuff that they used, the render engines and stuff that they used to make the particles of sand. Oh man, it was really cool. Way above my my nerddom goes up here, and then there's a whole nother like atmosphere of I don't understand it, but it was really cool to fucking listen to him talk about it. As
an amateur editor and things like that, I oftentimes look at things. I'm like, I think I know how they do those, or I think I understand. And I watch that, I'm like, this fucking looks real. Like
it is absolutely bananas. Yeah.
You know, I'm like, God damn, Denis Villeneuve, like he knows what's up, man. He knows what's up on how to make a really visually appealing film. And I'm like, God damn, that looks really cool. So y'all should go check that out.
Absolutely.
All right, gang, thanks so much for hanging out with us this week. We appreciate you. We also would appreciate it if you head over, if you're watching us on YouTube, hit that like and hit that subscribe button. It fucking means the world to us. We'd really appreciate it. Also, be sure to check us out on all our social medias at MindGap Podcast. Just links in the description for links to our Discord to join the family. Check out our merch at redbubble.com and also our Patreon at patreon.com/MindGapPodcast. And follow Justin as well.
On Instagram at Justin_Michael, spelled Mikel. It's the fun way of spelling it. While you're in the online realm, any place where you can find and consume quality podcasts, you can find and consume us. Go ahead and give us the share, like, rate, review, all those things that we ask every week. But the share is the big one. Let people know that we exist. It's the only way we keep going. And then TwoEastEighth.com, TwoEastEighth on all social media. And then LoveItImprovFilm.com, LoveItImprovFilm on Instagram. Follow.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Give me some. Bob. Justin, I want you to give me a good chest flex right now. Give me a good chest flex to sign us out. Take us out. Chest flex. Go. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, if you're watching and you're listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And Justin, thank you.
Douglas, thank you.
And you all have a dandy fucking week.
Mind Gap Podcast.